Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video will have spoilers for the 1988 graphic novel, V for Vendetta, and the 2005 movie of the same name. This video may also include discussions and images related to sensitive subjects such as sex, violence, and drug use. If you choose to continue watching, you are accepting responsibility for that decision. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope you're doing well. I hope everyone's having fun. I hope the new year is treating you well, and I hope the universe is treating you well. It's been a few weeks. I had some things that I needed to do, had some opportunities I had to explore. So that took me away from making videos, and it's that. I'm not going to apologize for it because it was things that just really made my life better, to be honest with you. Made things better for me. Without all that being said, that's not why you chose to click on this video. It's the title, V for Vendetta. That's why you're here. This video is going to be more about what I like about the story, both the graphic novel and the movie. One of the things I need to put out front is I personally cannot, in good faith and clear conscience, make a comparison of the movie to the graphic novel and say one is better than the other. Just simply because the comic, it was really originally released as a 10-part comic, starting in 1988, finishing up in 1989. And the movie came out in 2005. So, I was 19 years old when the comic series wrapped up, and I was 35 years old when the movie came out. Things change. The political landscape of the world changed. The comic series is basically Alan Moore taking a very critical look at the world in the late 1980s. The influences of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, the buildup of nuclear weapons in Europe, tensions between the East and the West, and that's the story he's telling. The film, the Wachowskis, are telling a story, a very critical look into the neo-fascist conservative government of George Bush versus the neoliberalism of the new century. Like I said, politics changed. The Iron Curtain fell. Russia went from being a communist state to a fascist oligarchy. and things change. In order to get people to come watch your movie, you have to make it relevant to them. And the main viewing audience in 2005 was completely different, a completely different demographic than the demographic that Alan Moore was shooting for in the 80s. Both stories are an indictment of government of their time. Alan Moore's original work is total anarchy versus Christian fascism. Whereas, like I said, the Wachowskis movie is neo-fascist conservative George Bush versus neoliberalism of the new century. They have some of the same themes, some of the same plot points, but they are different stories. For me, the graphic novel, the story resonates with me more than the movie. The movie's good, don't get me wrong. It is probably one of the best movies the Wachowskis done. It is up there with The Matrix, up there with Bound. If you haven't seen The Matrix, where have you been living? Bound, on the other, Bound is more of a niche mobster movie, and it's really good. So to me, that V for Vendetta, The Matrix, and Bound are probably the three movies that I personally consider the Wachowskis' best work. But that's personal opinion. Our hero, V. In the graphic novel, V is not a good guy. He's the hero by the virtue of being less insane, just by a little bit, than the villains. There are more moving parts in the novel, and I understand when they went to the film, a lot of the characters, the supporting characters, they cut out, because you could probably make 10 2-hour movies or do a 20 episode 1 hour miniseries easily, and still probably have to cut a lot out. That is the brilliance of Moore's writing. He can pack a lot of stuff into a small space and deliver it well. Now the casting for the movie: Natalie Portman, Hugo Weaving, Stephen Raw, John Hurt, Stephen Fry, all excellent casting choices. And I don't know how you would have, if you would have made or could make a comic accurate, say, miniseries or movie, if the current government of the United States would allow something like that, I don't know who you could cast, because the V character is dark in the graphic novel. Like I said, he's our hero for simply being a little less crazy than the antagonists. Sutler, or Suze, in the graphic novel, he's Suze, or Susan, excuse me, Susan. Sutler in the movie, the main head of Northfire, is crazy. He falls in love with his supercomputer. Unbeknownst to him, it's been hacked by V, and V's playing him and leading him down a path of insanity. V is also playing all the big party members against each other, which he does a little bit in the movie. But in the novel, he is a manipulator. He is a sadist. He's probably only slightly less insane than the High Chancellor and his minions. There's a bit in the comic where he's addressing, before he blows up the Bailey, Lady Justice on top of the old Bailey, where he's talking to her like somebody breaking up in a relationship. Then he blows her up. You know, not wrapped real tightly there, V. There's also in the movie where he breaks into the studio and they play the pre-recorded message he has. In the movie, it's more of an indictment of the people, criticizing them for their apathy. And in the graphic novel, or in the comic series, he is talking to them like they're a bad employee. He is, like he's head of HR, and the general populace of London is employees. And he's going to fire them if they don't get their shit together. In the novel, you have more players. You have you have a you have characters. I'm trying to figure out how to put this into words that are not like that aren't going to upset the Facebook, or not Facebook, the YouTube algorithm. The story opens up. Both stories open up fairly similar. The main differences in the opening of the novel and the book are, in the movie, Evie Hammond is going to her boss. She's aged up. In the movie, she's aged up, early to mid-20s. In the comics, Evie is a 16-year-old prostitute. She makes the mistake of propositioning one of the secret police, called they're part of the Finger, or Fingermen in the movie. That's what they're called. And they have decided that, and in the novel, that they have decided that they're going to rape her multiple times and kill her. In the movie, we just get a little bit of rape, and the whether or not they're going to murder her is left to your imagination. V in the graphic novel saves her. He blows up Westminster Abbey. In the novel and in the movie, blows up the Old Bailey. His underground lair in both the movie and the novel is called the Shadow Gallery. And Evie succumbs to Stockholm Syndrome real fast in the novel. Not so much in the movie. In fact, in the novel, when V kills the priest, it is even more disturbing. The fact that the priest is making note of Evie's age, that she's almost too old for his liking. I mean, mind you, in the novel, she's 16. And it is left ambiguous in the novel and in the movie what his preferred age of victim is. He, in the novel, it just says she's a few years too old. Which you're like, you know, it's when you take into account that she's 16 and she's a few years too old, that can be anywhere from 12, you know, that the priest likes 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, you know, who knows? It's less very ambiguous. He commits the same atrocities in both the novel and the book, except in the movie, or the novel and the movie, I should say, he commits the same basic atrocities. The way he dies, in the graphic novel, basically he's fed a poison communion wafer, and in the movie we have the fight. They fight. You have to have the action. And now the most significant, or in my opinion, the most significant change is, as far as killing the people that wronged him, is the voice of England, Prothero. In the novel, he doesn't kill him. He drives him insane. And in the movie, he kills him in the shower. Drug overdose of some kind. But in the movie, or in the novel, the graphic novel, you get introduced to this that has this fascination for dolls. And he has this collection of rare dolls. He cherishes them. He fetishizes them. You know, this is one of the quirks you don't get in the movie. He's kind of almost sexually attracted to him. And it's kind of creepy. And in the novel, he gets kidnapped. V has an elaborate reenactment of Lark Hill, or a recreation of it, in which all of Prothero's dolls are inmates. And he goes through this thing of basically destroying or killing them. And, and Prothero's cheese slides all the way off the cracker. And he is useless throughout the novel. Or, the rest of the novel, he's useless. He's just blah, 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 blah. And nothing remotely intelligent comes out of him. Now the one thing that I think says truest to the novel and the elimination of the people that wronged V was the death of the doctor, Delia. In the movie and in the novel, he injects her with poison. She wakes up. They talk. She dies. He leaves her a rose. And he goes. And in the novel, he is confronted by the head of basically the finger, man by the name of Dascombe, who is a very abusive, promiscuous individual. He beats his wife on the reg. And his wife suffers deeply from battered woman syndrome. In fact, he threatens her right before, when Finch and the regular police force figure out that Delia is V's next target. They call him to try to stop V from killing her. However, he was tormenting his wife with an unloaded gun. And when he gets the call, he leaves. He never loads his gun. So he catches V coming out of the apartment and has him dead to rights and is getting ready to shoot him, and the gun goes click and he gets killed. And his wife, loses her shit. She becomes a burlesque worker. It is kind of insinuated that she's a stripper, prostitute. It's never outright said, but there it is. I mean, and you have characters like this all through the book, but due to length and just as much as more packed into it couldn't be in the movie. I think the Wachowskis did a really good job at consolidating the movie, updating it. I could go on forever and ever on these things, but they are more than worth checking out, both the graphic novel and the movie. In fact, I recently picked me up my own copy, another copy of the graphic novel, because the one I originally had, I read till it fell apart. These softbacks like this, you read them over and over, and eventually the spine here gives out. So that is what it is. Like I said, I encourage you, if you've watched the movie and haven't read the graphic novel, read the graphic novel. If you've read the graphic novel and haven't seen the movie, watch the movie. If you haven't seen or read either one, do both. They're very worth it, very well worth the time and effort put into it. And one thing before I go, there's a bit in the movie where Finch just has this, out of nowhere, has this enlightenment where he's talking about, I could see this, I could see that, I could see what went down after reading Delia's diary after she was murdered. In the novelization, Finch goes to Lark Hill. He's read the journal, he's read the diary in both the novel, in the novel and in the movie. Settler or Susan, depending, has outlawed it, has said that to forget everything in there, that it's complete bollocks and rock on. But in the novel, after reading it, he goes to Lark Hill, drops acid, and has a visualization. Then as he's sobering up from the LSD experience, he's standing naked at Stonehenge for some reason. Don't know why. Just Alan Moore. He gets clothes. He gets his clothes. He puts his clothes back on. He goes back to town. He confronts V, not E. V. He confronts V. In the movie, that is Creedy that does it. Creedy, when Descombe gets killed, that's when Creedy becomes the head. That's when Creedy becomes a prominent character in the novel. But before that, Creedy's just a minor lieutenant in the framework, and power hungry, and he has his eye on overthrowing the Chancellor. But you need to read the novel if you want to know more about that. It's great. So with that all being said, everybody remember to be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?